So being a real estate agent is very hard, but being a millionaire real estate agent is even harder.
We have one here today, a top producer here in Las Vegas and the millionaire real estate agent, John Sullivan.
Before we dive into today's video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss a video.
John, thanks for coming today. It's a pleasure to have you here in our studio.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Good friend of ours, friendly competitor here in town in real estate. He's a monster with listings and he's a cold calling expert. John, we want to hear a little bit about your background first. You came from professional soccer. Tell us how that life translated into your real estate career.
I definitely think it gave me disciplines that real estate you need. There's a lot of similarities between sports and real estate. But mainly, just working hard. It's a tough business. The fallout rate is very high, as we all know. So it definitely gave me those daily disciplines that I had in sports, which is very important. So I definitely have taken that across, but I'll be the first to admit I wasn't the most disciplined footballer or soccer player there ever was. But I do feel like as life and time's gone on, I have got more discipline with real estate.
A little bit of maturing with it, but that's exactly what we thought, is that being such a high level athlete, has to come with a level of discipline, and it has to be instilled in you in order to play at that level. And it seems like that is the single thing, the most important thing that has transferred over to make your business so successful today.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I joined the Mike Ferry organization, who's based here in Las Vegas, pretty early on in my career, a few months in. So that definitely helped me with daily disciplines. For me, though, it was more when I moved from England to America, just the opportunities that America offers, which I didn't know even existed. So I do think sport played a big part of my disciplines moving across to real estate, but more just America as a whole. Having a career where there's no cap, there's no ceilings. In England, when you sell a property, it's extremely, a low-paying job.
Really?
Yeah. So commission in England, if you sell a house, it's 1%.
Oh wow.
Pretty much total is maximum. If you have the listing as a broker, you double end every deal. So if I'm a buyer and I want a house and it's listed with the Boeckle Group, I have to go for you. There's no buyers and sellers agents.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's a complete different model. There's no lock boxes, buyers, sellers, agents. Escrows normally take 6 to 9 months. Wow. It's a long process. So I think when I got into real estate, and in my first, 3 months, I closed 5 deals. I think it just kind of opened my eyes to the opportunities that this career can bring you, whether it's selling residential real estate or selling, flipping houses like you guys are doing.
Sure.
Yeah, so we gotta, call out the elephant in the room. Doing 5 deals in your first 3 months is pretty damn good.
It's unheard of.
Do you attribute your success to the accent or the discipline?
I would say my first 5 deals I solely owe to Craig Tan. He's my broker here in town at the time. We're at Berkshire Hathaway, and I remember my first day, it was September the 1st, 2015, and he gave me a $40,000 condo lead. Wow. And that client ended up buying 6 properties, not all in that time, but she also bought 6 properties from another realtor, so she in essence fired me. So I kind of owe it to Craig because he took a chance on me. He brought me on his team when he didn't have to, and he gave me a lead straight away. And you really, real estate, we can do all the training in the world. You can go to all the classes in the world. Really, you need to get in the mix of a transaction. That's where you learn, that's where you make your mistakes. So I would probably owe it down to Craig more than anyone for those first 5 deals.
It sounds like he kind of threw you into the fire, and that's what Jesse and I do a lot here at the Boeckle Group as well with our agents is, yes, we want to educate, yes, we want to teach you contracts and teach you how to go on a listing appointment and the basics, but there's no experience like true experience with real estate and actually being a part of a transaction and getting through the transaction. So we that same
and you definitely
model.
need someone to hold your hand. Like I remember Craig, he told me off in one of my first deals because I gave a backhand to one of his assistants to stay late and help me with the contracts because I had no idea, and he basically said never do that again. But at the time you're kind of desperate, right? Our biggest fear is sounding dumb to the client.
Sure.
Like an agent in our office today, she's relatively new. She said, I've got my first listing appointment next week. And I can tell she's already nervous about it. I can tell that she's already worried about talking about pricing and stuff, but you just have to throw yourself in. And you don't really have time to wait. I mean, the fallout, 80% of agents in the first year leave?
Right.
You haven't got time to wait.
I think a lot of people end up waiting because they have that nervousness and scaredness to get their hands dirty and get into the mix, and they bog themselves down. And this is something we see a lot with large brokerages where they just want to go to classes. They just want to go to education, and they'll spend maybe a year just doing that. instead of jumping in, which seems to be more of a trend with boutique brokerages like yours, like ours, where we tend to just get people experience right out of the gate.
So I honestly blame the brokerages, like most brokerages here in town, not being horrible, they're run by dinosaurs who haven't sold houses in 20, 30 years. So I blame them, because when you go to class, whether it's Key Realty or online or Berkshire Hathaway or whatever it would be, when you're in class, they tell you have 6 months money saved up. So after 6 months, if you've spent all your money and you haven't closed a deal, you think you're on track, because that's what they're telling you to do. So although I do feel sorry for some agents, I do feel like brokers in town can help people by setting better expectations and saying, instead of saying you need 6 months money, instead saying, hey, you can get your first deal in 30 days. It is possible that can happen.
Right. So for the viewers out there, I want to kind of backtrack to how you started, how you gained your success, and from what I know, it sounds like it's mostly from cold calling and a discipline within cold calling.
Yeah, so I didn't know anyone when I moved here. My wife kind of randomly one day said, you should try real estate, because she has loads of friends who are successful. I was like, okay, so I failed the test 7 times. So I was
seven times?
Yeah, not the smartest guy ever. So I failed like 7 times, and then I finally got into it. And I remember my first day at Berkshire Hathaway, I was with Craig Tan and the Craig Tan group. We were handed like scripts, my very first day, and we do role play in the morning, and they were Mike Ferry scripts. Never heard of Mike Ferry, and it just made sense to me. And then I just started the cold calling because I knew no one, and I really had no fear, and the best thing I did is in the first 90 days, I got all the rejection out the way. I had everyone tell me that, piss off, fuck off, don't ever contact me again, hope your mother dies, all that kind of crap.
And that's what most people are afraid of to get started. So if you're just now starting the cold calling adventure, listen to John. He's a very successful guy. He's dealt with it too, and he got past it.
Yeah, and I don't think of it as cold calling now, because when I'm calling, even if it's expireds or withdrawals or for sale by owners, for me it's not a cold call, because I know what I'm going to say. Like for me, random cold calling is maybe if you're just in a call center just dialing a bunch of random numbers, but I feel like I have a presence to the call, and I feel like I can really help the person. Once I turn my mindset to thinking this person needs my help, everything changed. And really, it's just trying to find one person to say yes. So I think it's 54 people I speak to, I set a listing appointment, and I think every 60 people I talk to, I take a listing. So I know my numbers. If I call 30 people a day or whatever, I should be taking a listing every couple of days.
Okay.
And that's important. That's a topic we really wanted to hit on, was your KPIs, because a listing for every 54 calls is incredible, but that's come with extreme discipline, extreme dedication, and a lot of practice. Where did it start?
It just started again. So I started the role play first of all, and I was doing all the calls. I think my first probably 3 to 6 months, I was calling probably 5 hours a day, because I didn't know anyone, didn't have any connections. Craig was giving me some leads for sure, but I had so much time. I mean, when you're a new agent, you have so much time on your hands. Like the days are pretty much free, and even now, I'm a big believer that from the moment I wake up till 1 o'clock, everything can wait. My staff can wait. Any fires and escrows can wait. Everything can wait. That's my time to produce business, is from when I wake up to 1 o'clock. And then 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock is admin, meeting with staff, meeting with team, returning any calls and emails. And then really 3 o'clock onwards is, that's crunch time. That's when we go and meet with our clients, go meet. So I try not to take any appointments before 3 o'clock.
Yeah, because I tried to call you before then. Yeah. I get the text messages, I get the secretaries.
Yeah, and it's not because I'm being rude. For me, it's more about, sorry for cutting off there, but for me, it's more about, I need to control that portion of my day. If I don't control that, if I go on a listing appointment at 9 a.m. and they turn up late, I'm stuck in school traffic, the appointment goes bad, my whole day is then ruined.
Sure.
So I try to really leave my appointments for later on in the day if possible.
You had a really good point there, is that when you start out, you have so much time as a new agent, and I think agents kind of get bogged down in that busyness that isn't really busyness. They handle one piece of paperwork for a few hours, and they have one transaction that they work all week on, and they really don't, or they sacrifice their income producing activities. They don't regiment those, and they get bogged down in what really is actually nothing, or should take you a few minutes.
You just said it. A lot of agents you're going mostly listing side, so that's the best side of the business. But most agents start with buyers, and they let these buyers control their lives.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do still work a lot of buyers. In my first year, full year, so first 3 months I closed 5 deals, then first full year in the business I closed 44. I think 38 were buyers. So you can still set your buyers' expectations up correctly, but kind of getting back to your original question, about 9 months into the business, I went to my first Mike Ferry Superstar Retreat at, I think it was the Venetian, and what he said to me just made sense. Control your time, control your morning routine. We call it prospecting, cold calling, but really it's talking to people about real estate. Delegate everything. So when I left that event, I hired my first transaction coordinator. I think the first 8 to 10 deals, I think you should hire I think you should do it yourself to learn the paperwork. But after that, you should definitely delegate that out. And then when you get to about 40-ish deals, you should definitely hire your first assistant full time. And that's when things can really start to explode because you have an extra, set of hands. But it's tough for people. I get it though. Most people who come into me at real estate make the transition, they don't really have that much money generally. So that, they need to do those kind of, SRPDs and all that stuff. But yeah, I've been guilty of it myself. You go to work all day, you haven't made one call, you haven't called a client, but you've done paperwork all day. You get home and sounds like you've had a hard day, but really you've wasted the day.
Haven't really accomplished much at all.
Haven't accomplished anything.
Right,
but,
there's no new business that came about of that day. And it's like we said, even with appointments, you got to be careful. Yes, everyone gets so excited by getting an appointment or by taking a buyer out to see homes.
Yeah.
But it's still important to dedicate that first half of your day or a portion of your day that you block out every single day. It doesn't have to always be in the mornings either to prospect. That is your lead generation, new income producing time frame.
Yeah, I just think separate your day in two. Mornings for creating, afternoons are for doing. And once I had that mentality and changed that really changed my business. And then I put staff and administration in place.
Around you.
Yeah, so I can still do all of my admin in the morning because they're doing it. They know how I like to operate. If my phone rings, it rings to the office line. Like, my belief is that the phone should always be answered. So even now, if someone's calling me now on my cell phone, that phone is forwarded to my office where it's getting handled. I don't like clients waiting. I think with social media, with accessibility for everything, people want an instant response. I know when I buy something like a new car or something like that, I want instant gratitude, gratification kind of thing. So I think we have to appreciate that the dynamic of a client is changing. People do want instant results, but it doesn't mean that we have to do everything. Because if I'm spending all my day doing that stuff, I'm never going to create business, and that's what my job is.
It's about structuring to be successful and putting the people in place and delegating the people, but also your time. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on today, is because you're so skilled at doing that, and it's so clear that that's such an attribute to your success. So we want to help teach people that are watching this that delegating your time, building a team around you is part of the way forward. It's part of the way to become successful. We've done it in our business, and we can see you've done it in yours. That's a big takeaway from today's video.
Yeah, but you guys think I'm good at that, and I think I'm bad at it because, about a month ago, Mike Ferry now coaches me directly, and I'm kind of now getting compared to agents who he coaches are at the top of their game. So, you got to surround yourself by people who are doing better than you, and that's the only way you're going to grow in this business.
Great point.
Yeah, and that kind of moves into our next topic is the coaching and mentorship. You obviously with professional sports, professional soccer, you've been coached your entire life,
correct?
Pretty much. So. And as we know, we're part of mastermind groups, we're part of coaching programs as well. It's one of the most important aspects of our business is hanging out with people and talking to people smarter than you and more successful than you all the time.
Yeah, I think that's really important that we have to remember what the end goal is here, right? It's not just about a closing, a sale, getting a flip. It's about what are we trying to achieve in our life, right? And for me, it's about passive income, trying to replicate my income now into passively. So one day I can either make a decision to step away, sell my business, retire, or just operate at a lower level and have a higher, quality of life. Because, real estate, it is tough, especially residential real estate, because when you're flipping properties, you're generally dealing with yourself, maybe contractors. But when you're doing residential, you're dealing with lenders, you're dealing with, title companies, you're dealing with the buyer, the seller, there's a lot of things there.
It's a circus.
So it is a little bit. I mean, I enjoy it. We enjoy kind of helping the client through, but it's a lot of, a lot of times it takes me 2, 3, even 4 years to even get a client, because they're not ready, they're not ready. There's a lot of, it's a lot of back and forth there. So, I appreciate the position I'm in, but there's definitely a lot of room to grow for sure.
Yeah, and I've seen how you operate with clients so many times. And like you said, it takes years to convert people sometimes. And most, most agents out there are looking for that instant yes or no client. And that only happens, and we tell our agents here, that instant yes or no client really only happens 3 to 5 times a year maybe, where it's like, oh, you make the call, yeah, come over, I'm gonna list my house today.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's looking for. What's your follow-up routine look like?
So I'm pretty aggressive in my follow-up. I mean, if someone flat out says to me, I'm not interested a few times, then I'll just leave it. But if someone shows an interest and says to me, hey, John, I'm thinking about selling in the future, I'll call them probably at least every 30 days, and then like if they say, we're 2 years out, then it probably moved to 60 or 75 days. I sometimes put myself on a MLS search in their community so I can call with some value, because the worst thing we can do as agents is call, hey, I'm just calling to check in.
You ready yet? You ready yet?
Right.
Whereas if I can say, hey, just want to leave you a quick message, some exciting news, 123 Main Street, just went under contract, it's the same floor plan as you, sold for $650, then that's bringing some value to the client. Back to your kind of question about coaching and stuff like that, I really start my Monday strong. So I have a 7 a.m. call with Mike Ferry on Mondays. It's a group call called Mornings with Mike. Then we have a 7:30 a.m. group call called Think Big, where we really don't talk about, Mike leads it again. We really don't talk about anything apart from thinking big, how do we improve, talk about great books, and stuff like right now we're talking about a Dale Carnegie book and stuff. Then at 1 o'clock on Mondays, I have a mastermind group with about 7 other realtors across the US, and they're all doing more than me, so it's a great, great
awesome,
to learn.
yeah.
And then at 3:30 on Mondays, I have my coaching call with Mike. So pretty much my Mondays, I try to, if possible, no appointments on Mondays, and try and build my pipeline for the week on Monday. So I'll try and get 4 or 5 hours of calls in as well, so I can try and set up my, because my call in, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I role play with different agents from 7:30 to 8. 8 o'clock on the phone till normally 11:30, 12 every day. And then I normally do my lead follow-up like 11:30 to 12:30 every day. So I'm on the phones 4 or 5 hours a day.
Wow. It's quite a bit.
You're successful.
Yeah.
You're consistent with it.
It's just my anchor for the day. For me, it's just that's all I know. I don't know anything else. And the calls now are so much better quality because I'm having great conversations with past clients. Like today was a prime example. I've got this great client from England, and he called me saying, hey, John, I haven't heard from you for a while.
They
just want to check in. He called me.
Wow.
Because I train my clients as soon as we close. Like in the first 30 days, I call them the same day, the next day, the 7th day, 14th day I'll text, 21st day I'll call, 30th day I'll text, 90th day, 60th day I'll call, and then every 90 days forever I'll call them. So I'm training them in that first 30 days that I am going to keep in contact with you. If you have any questions about real estate, you got to call me. If you need a contractor, call me. If anything happens at the house, don't worry about calling a home warranty, call me. So I try and train my clients and also ask for referrals that I am going to keep in contact with you, because I know when I buy stuff, they make the sale with you, you never hear from them again.
Right. That's very common.
It'd be nice, if I bought a car, hey, 30 days, hey, just checking in, how's everything with the car?
Right.
You don't get those calls. So I feel like we should be doing that for our clients.
Yeah, it definitely sets you apart.
I think so, yeah.
So how much of your business now has gone from cold call lead generation to now referral-based generation?
Yeah, it's probably close to 50-50 now. I'm actually sourcing my business from last year and for this year now. It's a project Mike's asked me to do. So I would probably say it's probably 40 to 50% is probably referrals now, and then the rest is still lead generation or sign calls, or people see my reviews online. I don't pay for any marketing, no leads, so I stopped that at probably about 18 months to 2 years ago. For the first, I think, couple of years, I paid for Zillow leads. Zillow worked great for me personally. I got some great clients from it. Wasn't that expensive. I split it with Lender. I know the model's changed now, so I don't think it's as good. But for me, it was good. And it was also good for me to invest my own money, because agents always want to go on teams. They want to get free leads. And sometimes when you get everything for free, you don't really convert it. You're not as aggressive to convert it because you're not paying for it.
I couldn't agree more.
So I'm very proud now that we don't pay for any lead flow. I put all my money into my, keeping in touch with my database, past clients and stuff. But really, it's just time. And that's, to be successful in real estate, whether you're flipping, a lender, in real estate, you've got to invest your time.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Invest your time wisely. Time management is extremely important. And then also, like you said before, delegating to the right people and bringing the right people on at the right times is what's really giving you the ability to truly scale your business.
Correct. We got two admin now. I'm a one buyer's agent. I'm kind of thinking about maybe even bringing on a third admin as like a receptionist, just trying to always streamline all the time. trying to put people in place before we need it. That's what I find is good. Sometimes people say, I'll get a transaction coordinator when I get to 10 deals, and then they get to 10 deals, and then and it's just too late, you know?
Right.
So trying to put people in place before.
When it comes to scaling a business, that's one of the hardest decisions as a business owner, is when to do that, when to add to the team and start building. And it's almost a chicken or the egg situation where, yeah, you're right, I'll wait till I get to that level to hire that person, but shouldn't I put that person in place? They'll help me get to that level. Yeah. We've struggled with that a lot. Many times. We just covered that in one of our videos that just went on YouTube here. So scaling a business, don't wait, find that person. They will help you get to your goals.
Yeah, and I think I don't have a business background, so I've made many mistakes with hiring, just with business decisions. You know, when you start to really look at your profit and loss, when you start out the first couple of years, all you're focused on is the sales. But you know, if you get a $10,000 paycheck, you don't make $10,000. Right, you know, once you have to really. So I started looking at very closely 6 months ago. You know, it's all about. It's not how much you make, how much are you keeping. You know, it's all about that profit loss. And once you really start focusing on a number, it humbles you, because for a long time I thought I was making more money than I was.
And actually, it was.
Yeah, you know, I did.
All the fees, it adds up.
I thought I was making more money than I was, and then when I actually broke it down, and I've sat down with my wife a few times and gone through it, you know, we have to have a conversation. Hey, are we living beyond our means, or you know, are we, you know, where can we cut back, or where can we put more money in to make more money,
sure.
Right? So that was a very humbling experience for me too, to really look at your numbers closely. As my coach Mike Ferry says, the numbers do not lie. The numbers don't lie. So you've got to have a good accountant or something like that, where a great CPA, obviously, where you're really looking in each year at, you know, how much am I actually taking home? Sure. You know, if I make $1 million, $1.5 million, I'm not making that, right? So how much am I actually making?
That's one of the dangerous things I think a lot of real estate agents fall into, is they see those big paychecks, and to be honest, I see a lot of them that have spent it before it even comes in.
Yeah, as soon as, the first thing we do when we get a sale is we get on a calculator how much money is that, right? You know?
How much commission am I making on this one? And they're big numbers. That's not liars. Those are, $10,000, $15,000 checks. Those are big checks to receive.
Yeah, so my average check last year was $8,800, and this year, just because the market's gone up, and I made a little bit of a change on my commission structure, my average now is like $13,700 per deal.
That's a pretty good increase.
How many deals?
So right now I'm tracking personally about 110. My goal was to make.
You guys can do the math on that.
Yeah, my goal was to make 138. So I'm down on my goal, but I'm above my income. And then my buyer's agent, he's probably on track to do about 50, 60. So me, one buyer's agent, and 2 admin, we're on track for about 160 this year, 160 deals.
By end of the year or currently?
No, by the end of the year. Currently we're at, currently we're probably at about $110 closing pending, maybe $120, 120 maybe.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's huge success.
There's only a handful of people, I don't care what city you're in, that are doing that kind of volume.
Yeah, it's a lot of volume, and I'm having a conversation a lot with Mike about, and I talk about Mike a lot and Craig, because they're just such big mentors in my life, And I'm having a conversation, how much realistically can I do personally and have a life? And he gave me examples of agents who are doing 140 to 200 of, residential transactions every year and still having a life. I protect my weekends. I don't work the weekends. I would rather work till 10 o'clock Friday night to have a weekend off with my daughter and my wife. That's very important to me. So
keeping that balance.
And, we're always fearful, if a client wants to sell their house, and they say, are you available Saturday? We think we have to say yes. Right. Where sometimes when I go and do something and say, hey, are you available at a time? And they say yes. Are they not busy? Why are they so open? True. Right. So, sometimes it's, you want to be flexible with your client's schedule. But for me, like if a client says, hey, I don't get off work till 6, I'll say, hey, I'll meet you at 7 o'clock. Or 6:30, and that protects my weekend.
Do you find that your clients respect you more when you say no to Saturday showings or weekend showings, or that instant, oh yeah, I can meet you then, or I can meet you that, that too much flexibility in your schedule and not enough professional time management of your schedule?
Yeah, so with sellers, right, really list to last is kind of what I've always been taught. So with sellers, once you do the initial appointment, pretty much everything then is done over the phone, unless you're client or online, right? So you can kind of protect that with that. If a buyer, really you should be asking them, when's an ideal time for you to see homes? And if they tell you, I work a week, it's the weekends, and I say, okay, I can do that, and in my head I'm like, I can't, then I'm doing a disservice to the client. So I have to tell the client that, or I refer them out. So I'm normally pretty good at setting my standards. I call all of my current clients, whether it's a buyer or a seller, every Tuesday afternoon. So when I do meet with them, Normally my procedure with sellers is I email them a market report every Monday and Thursday, and then I call them every Tuesday. So I normally tell them up front, hey, bare minimum you're going to hear from me is every Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to give you an update of where we stand. But homes have been selling so quick, so you haven't really had to make those calls. But even when it goes into escrow, I still pop in a call to them at least once a week. So I think it's just all about setting expectations and making sure we're not doing the client a disservice. If they can only see homes that weekend and that doesn't work for my schedule, I think when you start, you're so desperate for the paycheck, right? But as time goes on, do anything, and I can appreciate that. And even now, when I get slow, I can feel myself dropping my standards. Hey, you want to meet at 2 or 1? You kind of do that. So you just got to let the client know, hey, here's my schedule. And sometimes I print out my schedule and show them, hey, between the hours of 7 and 12, I'm actively trying to sell your property, so I'm not available then.
Honestly, with your schedule and everything you've just told us, I'm surprised we got him in today.
Well, what time is it? 3 o'clock, right? What time did we meet today? At 3 o'clock, so that's just, that's my schedule. I got to the office this morning, did my role play, did my calling, did some admin before I got here between 1 and 3. And that's just schedule. And then after you today, I've got a 5 o'clock, and then I'll be done and go home.
Cool. Well, as we talk about schedule, you brought up one thing that I think is tough for people when they get to a level of scaling. They're doing really good business. It's that work-life balance. And what we'd like to do is ask all of our guests, when you wake up in the morning, this is work aside. This is before you hit the office, before you start calling. What's that morning routine like? Because we've learned from a lot of mentors that we have that a millionaire morning routine is incredibly important. And what you do in those first few minutes or even first few hours of your morning can totally set the trajectory of your day. I don't have a perfect morning routine. I'm working on it. It's something I need to keep building. But what's yours? I'm very interested.
Mine was very strong. I'd say the last 90 days I've really got off that. It's one of my goals now to get back on that morning routine. The reality is it starts the night before. So I always think the night before, clearing your emails, clearing your calls, maybe getting ready what you're going to wear the next day so you don't have to think about it is really important. When I go to bed, I leave my phone in my bathroom completely away from my bed, so I'm not engaged in my phone. My alarm goes off at 4:30. For a long time, I was straight up and going. These days with my daughter, sometimes she sleeps in our bed. It's hard to leave that. But my ideal morning routine, which I'm trying to get back to, is alarm goes off at 4:30. Have 30 minutes kind of waking up, just kind of getting the day going. Get in the gym at 5 to 6. We have a home gym, which is pretty nice. And then 6 to 7, shower, get ready, get in the car. Always go to Starbucks on the way. Always go to the same Starbucks, see the same people. FaceTime my mom. I always get to the office by 7. So even if I'm not doing the initial stuff, I will be in the office by 7.
Okay.
And then 7 to 7:30, I'm either processing to my staff any listings I took the day before or any admin. 7:30 to 8, I'm role playing, and then 8, I'm on to cold calling. Yeah, so that's my morning routine, and it is brutal sometimes. Like it does get tough, but what also is brutal is waking up at 10 a.m. in the morning not having any clients.
Right.
Absolutely.
So both of them are hard, right?
Choose your hard, right?
Yeah, I just think that when you wake up and you beat the sun up and you beat people and you beat your clients, like if I wake up to a call at 10 o'clock from a client, I don't think that's fair. So
how are you serving them?
So I just call them back at 4:30 in the morning. Hey, sorry, just got your message, just woke up. Because if that's my expectation. I will contact clients at 4 or 5 in the morning. If I've got to respond to them, I don't care. I'll just get it done. I think one of the good things in this business is if you've got something on your mind or on your plate, just get it done. Just get it done. In terms of work-life balance, I've really struggled with that. I've struggled with that. Struggled with it being a dad because sometimes I don't do everything I'm meant to do at work. So I take it home with me, So even now I can feel there's quite a few things that have been on my plate for about a month or 2 that I haven't done.
Lagging.
Yeah, so I've kind of given myself I've got to have everything done by Sunday night. This is where I'm at right now. Today is Thursday. I've got to have everything done by Sunday evening. And once it's done, if it's not done by Sunday, it's not important. And I have to get back to a clean slate. So things for me is I clear all my text messages once I've handled it. I clean all my emails, always at 0. That's just really important. I think if you can always have that mental space that you've done everything, I think that's really important. So when you go home, if I work a full day from 7 till 6 or 7 p.m., I've worked a full day.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I don't buy leads anymore. I don't really believe in lead flow for me personally. It's just because there always seems to be at 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
That keep you working forever.
It keeps you working forever, and you're always attached to your phone, and it's always it's never ending. Where I'm of the belief, if I've worked a 12-hour day, I deserve to, unless it's an emergency, I'll check my phone every, hour or so.
Sure.
It can wait,
Well, I think it's safe to say you are the epitome of a disciplined, successful real estate agent.
Thank you.
And family man. I see your personal life on your Instagram and social media, and we know each other personally.
Yeah.
So your family is wonderful. You're wonderful to them. So don't get down on yourself for that.
I appreciate it.
You
Yeah.
have a wonderful family.
You know,
120 plus transaction a year man, a millionaire real estate agent. Last question we have for everyone is, what is the perfect John Sullivan legacy?
I would say personally, I would want to become a better husband and a better dad. Whether that means, I probably need to be more specific on that. I definitely want to be more present. One of the things I'm working on now with my coach Mike is I talk too much and I don't listen enough. So I'll find myself asking family members questions like, how was your day? And they respond and I don't listen, right? So I think my legacy is I want to be known just as someone who's a good person. You know, there's a lot of bad eggs in this business and there's a lot of good people. In terms of business, I think I would love to be, you know, the top listing agent in town, you know, top realtor in town, definitely the most profitable. And then I want to try and supplement that with a side, you know, buying rentals. And, you know, if I can get to $100,000 a month net profit from my rental income, then I think that would be a great goal for me and my family. I'm 33 now, so I definitely don't want to work forever. But I think that's what my legacy right now looks like. But the great thing about real estate is that will probably change tomorrow or next year. The goals are forever changing.
Sure,
Right?
you can always push that target a little further and excel a little faster, and that's that great thing about real estate is that you think that ceiling right now today exists here. You learn something, you have a new mentor, learn a new skill, and now that ceiling rises.
Yeah, so like in my mastermind group 2 weeks ago, we always talked about what we want our, you know, passive income to be, and I said 100. And someone said 250. That suddenly gets you thinking.
Yeah. I thought 100 was a lot.
Yeah, you know, but that gets me thinking, like, if they can do 250, I can do 250.
Sure.
And that's back to the importance of masterminding. And if you're in an office or you work for a company and it's not matching your goals, or if you're the best agent in your office, or if you're doing 25 deals a year and you have this huge office and everyone makes you think you got all these awards around you, you're in the wrong company. Get to a company where people are pushing you, because that's not good for anyone.
The worst place you can be is in your comfort zone.
For sure, and it's easy in real estate because people put you on a pedestal. You know, if you do 20, 25 deals a year, they put you on a pedestal where really in the grand scheme of things, it's not terrible, but you know, for me, someone says to me, what's a good agent? 50 deals a year, that's what I call a good agent.
So 20, 30, that's truly below average, where I would consider the average.
Above average in terms of the industry.
The real average,
right.
Yeah, so when I look at agents like, you know, and I very rarely do, but you know, like the top 100, 150, probably 250 list in Vegas, there's some really strong agents in there. I would say there's some really strong agents in there, but for me,
We're all on it.
what I call an agent is 50 deals a year is a good agent, and you can have a great lifestyle in 50 deals a year.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
John, thanks for being here today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I learned a lot. I hope that everyone that's watching learned a lot as well. And if you do have any questions about being a successful real estate agent, any real estate agent questions in general, cold calling, investing, financing, please drop a comment below and we'll get back to you.
And until then,
We'll see you on the flip side.